Welcome back to the channel. I'm your host, EJ Parker. It's been a long time. Today we're gonna unbox some good stuff. This is some Ozark Roadside tourist pottery. Usually I keep the unboxings a mystery until the item's unboxed, but this one's kind of specific, and I believe this kind of pottery is not documented or talked about enough. So, cat's out of the bag. Let's see if this thing arrived safely and securely. I got this on eBay. This came from Spokane, Washington. Is it Spokane or Spokane? I always forget how folks out there pronounce it. All right, so let's unbox it and then we'll talk about what in the world is Ozark Roadside tourist pottery. About to find out. All right, let's see. Hope you're all doing well. There's been a lot of changes around here. Oh wow, cool. It came in one piece. Look at this gorgeous specimen of I love it. This is awesome. Early 20th century Ozark Roadside tourist pottery. So this is, let me see this thing. Wow, this is better than I thought. What is it? This is a highly collectible and sought after form of Americana folk art. It's like this represents like where folk art and early 20th century in entrepreneurial spirit intersect, and I'll explain all that. So this is made out of a cement, and it was probably made around 1930 or so, maybe a little earlier. And it's got this amazing swirl of a paint job. Collectors love the swirl. And you can see the inside. It's kind of like a light gloss finish. There's no maker's mark that I can see, which is common for these pieces. So let me explain what this is. So this probably dates from the 1920s or 1930s. There was a gentleman by the name of Harold Horine who like built houses and dealt with like plastering walls. And he came up with this idea to form pottery without a mold. So this is not made out of clay, it's made out of like a cement. It's heavy, it's excuse me, it's porous. It's been painted. The base kind of shows you some of that texture as well as the interior. It's kind of porous, and the outside is got a light gloss to it. So this gentleman, Harold Horine, patented this method of creating pottery without molds, as well as this paint, this awesome magical paint. These swirls, different colors. I've seen them all blue. I've seen them, all green and white, all different kinds of colors mixed in. I like this orange and the blue and the green. This is awesome. So this guy was tinkering around, developed his way to make pottery without a mold out of this cement and dip it in this paint solution to get this awesome finish. And this is like, when Route 66, which is a very famous American highway, people would sell knickknacks and souvenirs, and tourists would slam on the brakes and take home a little piece of Route 66 with them. And this is maybe what this was. Now the cool part is, so this is where the entrepreneurial spirit kicks in. So this guy Harold would patent this idea, and he made like an early franchise. So for $500, he would come to your house, teach you the method of how to make this pottery and how to dip it in paint to make that swirl finish. And then you could set up your very own, I think he called it Camo. He had a certain name for it, like COMO. He had a specific name. Now it's called Ozark Roadside Pottery or Mission Pottery. But so you would buy this method, he would come to your house and teach you, and then, and then he'd leave, and then you'd make these and sell these. Now I always wonder, because there's not a lot written about that, so my mind wants to fill in the blanks. Like, did he like come out and like stay at your house, like, hey, I'm gonna teach you here, but I'm gonna be for about a week. I'm a vegetarian. I require, all this stuff. Or was it just like, hey, I'll be there for 2 hours, and you'll learn this, and then I'll leave. I wonder how long it took for him to teach you these methods. We'll never know, maybe. So you would learn this method from him, and then you would sell these. The other name for these pieces of pottery is mission pottery, and that's because this guy Harold also went out to Arizona, where there was a mission in the desert for folks that had tuberculosis, and the dry climate was good for their health, and they needed something to do in the desert. So I guess Harold donated this method to this mission, and where these folks in the desert had something to do, they made this gorgeous pottery, and they also sold it. So it gave them things to do, and it also brought an income to the mission. I believe from what I read from that, the mission employed this project pottery for I think 4 or 5 years, and then they moved on to other projects. So this has a couple names to collectors. Again, Ozark Pottery, or Ozark Roadside Tourist Pottery. I love that name. That's a song. Come on, Ozark Roadside Tourist Pottery. It just flies off the tongue. Or it's known as Mission Pottery. This one costs $100 on eBay. They can go for a lot more. They can go for a little bit less if you're lucky, but I just had to have this one because the color combination, the size commands value. So if you got like a 2-foot tall vase, it's going to be a lot. It's going to cost a lot. Those are more rare. This is kind of like a cabinet vase or pot. This is gorgeous. I'm not sure where I'm going to put it yet. But for collectors out there or potential collectors, I've never found I live in Ohio. I've never found these in antique stores or thrift stores in my area. That's why I had to buy one on eBay, because I want one for I'm a generalist. I want one for my collection of pottery. I couldn't find one out in the wild. I've been looking at these on eBay for a couple years, so I decided to just get the damn thing and move on with your life, EJ. So I did it, and I wanted to share it all with you fine people out there. This gorgeous piece of, I'm going to say 1920s, 1930s, made of cement, unmarked roadside pottery. So again, they should be unmarked. I haven't seen any examples of this pottery that have a maker's mark of any sort. So there you have it. You can decipher. Now there are other kinds of pottery that look similar. One's called, I think, it's got a name like NAMADGA. There's a few other swirl-like patterns of pottery, but those are much thinner, and those are having to do with the clay itself. Or this is like a cement material dipped into a paint to get that swirl. So there you have it. If you want a piece of this pottery, I would recommend eBay, or go out in the wild and look and cross your fingers. So there you have it. Ozark Roadside Tourist Pottery. Thanks for checking in.